10. On the road again. They break free from the confines of the canyon road just as the valley is waking up for the day. Eliza swallows another handful of vitamins and caffeine to keep the sleep at bay. It's a battle she's losing, and with each brain cell that succumbs to the warm darkness, the harder it becomes to avoid reconciling what happened to them in the canyon. They're getting curious, those brain cells, demanding bedtime stories and asking recursive series of why to her exhausted conscious mind. It's one of the only times she's ever truly resented the fact that her brain is so optimized for problem solving. Why block the road with a tree? Don't they have tractor beams or something? Why were they trying to dampen the kid's abilities? Why even any of this circus in the first place? She tries to focus on the road. The cars around are driving along calmly and happily. Even the odd asshole who cuts her off every couple of miles is a pleasant reprieve from the horrors of the world she's found herself spiraling into. Infuriating, but familiar. Almost nostalgic. She finds herself building a graph in her mind, projected onto the windshield in her imagination. It looks like a phase diagram, charting negative experiences on one axis and psychological unfamiliarity on another. Down in the bottom left corner, where the negativity and unfamiliarity are both below zero, she places a cool blue dot representing cuddling up in her bed with a book as the rain falls outside. Top left, the death of a loved one. Horrible, but a natural kind of horrible. Not good, but right. Opposite that, in the bottom right, obviously some kind of wonderful religious or psychedelic experience. Not comfortable per se, and definitely not representative of reality, but at least it holds some beauty and perhaps insight. Then there's the final corner, where she plunks the dark red ink stain that is her current experience. She steps back to look at those reference points, takes a leveling breath, and scoots that top right splotch down a bit on the negativity. No one is dead, and they've got a plan. She finds some comfort in that. Plus, now she has a little jigsaw to work on as she drives. She begins plotting other experiences, trying to work out some kind of pattern. She gets about halfway through before realizing that she hasn't thought of a third variable to give the diagram any actual meaning. It just looks like a normal gradient. She sighs. The image fades. She's not sure whether she's more disappointed in the fact that she fudged something so simple in her tired state or that she noticed it all before the drive was over. Now there's just the monotonous road along the mountainside. Now, having reclaimed some center of herself, the asshole drivers are just plain annoying again. One of these assholes swerves right out in front of her. Too exhausted to be meek, she punches the horn and holds it. In the passenger seat, Patricia jolts awake with a shriek. Eliza cringes, both out of shame and because her nerves are already fucking shot. "My ears," she says flatly. "What happened?" Pat gibbers. "This guy." Eliza points her chin at the car in front of them. "God, he cuts us off and now he's doing 40, honestly." "Do you want me to drive?" Patricia offers. Errol's head appears from between the seats. He's frowning intently at the asshole like he might shoot lasers from his eyes. Eliza sighs internally at the ludicrous fact that something like that might actually happen. Not a good idea to melt someone's brain while they're driving, she tries to joke. Errol doesn't acknowledge her. His face is screwed up in deep concentration. Finally, his eyes go wide and his jaw slack. "It's them," he says. Eliza either doesn't have the brain power to process what he said or is too tired to want to. "Who?" she asks. "We need to get out of here," he says. He points to an upcoming side street. "That way, we can lose them and double back." "Who is it?" asks Lumen again. "Slate's guys," he barks. "They've got..." Suddenly, all three of the people in the car become visibly sick. Pat curls over in her seat, Errol clutches the sides of his head, and Eliza feels her bones rattling under her skin. "Sonic weapons," Errol manages. Eliza tries her best to maintain control of the steering wheel, but it seems her rapidly vibrating neurons are getting other ideas. Her hands grip the wheel and she swerves. Just before they're about to roll under a passing semi-truck, the vibrations stop and she reorients herself in the proper lane. "Jesus Christ," Errol howls. "What are we gonna..." Dr. Lumen does not allow these men in the car ahead another chance to attack. An idea comes, and insane as it may be, they don't have time to debate or strategize. She presses the gas pedal to the floor. The car's engine whines, and she briefly finds herself wishing she'd taken Kite's advice when they first signed the contract and bought something more sporty, before her body is jerked in a million directions by dispersed inertia. She manages to hit them at an angle. Slate's men spin out, crashing into an oncoming SUV, and she's able to reorient her own car to ram into them a second time while maintaining enough forward momentum to cruise on through the quickly mounting carnage. She catches a glimpse of the pileup in a rearview mirror and does an excellent job of focusing on how good her calculations were rather than how many innocent people she likely just seriously maimed or murdered. She drives on at full speed. They make it to the observatory without much more hassle, a fact Lai finds foreboding more than anything else. It's a small building built on a low peak jutting off the side of the mountain. Other than a small dirt parking lot and some vending machines, there is nothing around but tangles of trees and rocky slopes. They sit there in silence for a moment, long enough to let their blood pressure drop, but not long enough to let anxiety take root. "What now?" asks Pat. "Errol said they'd be waiting," says Lai. "Do you sense them?" Errol shakes his head. "I don't even feel you guys right now." Eliza breaks the suspense by opening her door and stepping out into the noontime sunlight. The warmth of it feels nice on her skin. The other two hesitate for a moment, but finally follow her to the vending machine that stands against the outside wall of the observatory. She selects a bag of pretzels and tears into them. They sit there on the bench for a while, just staring out at the busy little slice of civilization below. It's the side of the valley that Lumen isn't used to seeing. It may as well be another country for all the people and streets she doesn't know. There's even another university down there doing their own research. She knows its name, but can't think of it right now in her sleep-deprived state. The minutes tick on like that, uncomfortably serene. Eventually, the minutes turn into hours. The three travelers wander around the space, kicking at dust and trying to find some secret way into the locked observatory. Still, nobody comes. No aliens, no police helicopters, not even a stray hiker. After a while, I can't help but wonder if they haven't slipped into some pocket dimension for safekeeping while their inbound saviors break for donuts. Then she sees it. 1 second, the sky is nothing but streaks of fluffy clouds for miles around, then suddenly there's a flying saucer hovering over the domed roof of the observatory. It's fairly large, probably around 600 feet in diameter, without any discernible windows or openings, just dark, smooth metal. It sits there silent and still. No sign that it rushed in from anywhere, no wake in the air blowing the leaves, not even a slight change in air pressure. It doesn't give any indication that it's capable of movement at all, in fact. She has to walk around the side of the building to confirm that it's not attached to anything. Patricia doesn't even notice the floating behemoth until her brother starts tapping her urgently on the shoulder. She turns to look, and her jaw drops. Dr. Lumen, wholly too tired to be any more awe-stricken than she has to be, retrieves a canister from the back of the car and holds it aloft. "Okay," she shouts. "We brought it here. Now get rid of it so we can spend the rest of our lives in prison in peace." Patricia's jaw clamps shut. "Prison?" Lai avoids the girl's probing gaze. "Obviously, kid. What did you expect was going to happen next?" The saucer just sits there, barely reflecting any light off its dark surface. It looks like a video game asset that hasn't properly loaded. The rambunctious nocturnal parts of Eliza's mind are running around telling the rest that yes, this is in fact some sort of simulation. Not only is she going to rot in prison, she's going to virtually rot in a virtual prison. Actually, maybe no prison. Those people she killed on the highway would have just been simulated anyways. Then again, she's probably simulated too. Can a program really be held responsible for what it does to another program? Hell, might as well just smash the canister here and now. Simulated strange matter swallowing up a simulated world is morally gray at worst. She ignores the babbling of her exhausted mind and shakes the canister at the silent object in the sky. "Hello?" "They're coming," Errol assures her. She's not so sure he's currently tuned into their little psychic network, but she's not up to the task of arguing against her own sanity. She sighs and goes to sit on the trunk of her car, staring into the hungry green oblivion of God's booger as it dis and recoagulates in its suspension chamber. The whispers of guilt and regret bubble up from the bottom of her mind. The very creation of this object was a sin of the highest order. Kite and the others drove the bus, sure, but she crunched those numbers. Hell, the technology that vomited out the recipe for the vile thing has her name plastered across it for now and all the rest of eternity. Assuming eternity is still in the cards for the human race. She wonders if they'd bother simulating hell, or if she'd just get wiped in order to free up space for the next vainglorious genius to come along. But sooner or later, Slate's guys will show up. She's frankly astonished that a chopper hadn't appeared over the horizon and rained hellfire down on them while they were waiting. Finally, the spacecraft begins making a low hum. She looks up to see if maybe a hatch is opening or something, but it's still held in static in midair, completely unchanging. She has to suppress the very real urge to hurl the canister at the object. After a few irritating seconds, the door does open up, but it's not one anywhere on the ship. It's the previously locked door of the observatory. The latches click from the inside, and it swings out a few inches before falling back into place as if blown by a powerful gust of wind. The air outside remains still. Errol and Pat both look at her. She's too tired to analyze what kind of facial expression she's making at them, so she just pushes herself up to her feet and nods. "Shall we?"